Lyle Hamilton, an affluent tech mogul, was a man seemingly at the pinnacle of his existence. From humble beginnings, he had clawed his way to the summit of the technological industry, achieving meteoric success along the way. He had recently made the headlines by selling his 2 widely successful startups, amassing a staggering fortune that was beyond even his most fantastical dreams. To commemorate this monumental achievement, he decided to immerse himself in the opulence of Viper's Lair, the city's most exclusive nightclub, a sanctuary for the rich and famous where they could indulge their whims without inhibition. In the chaotic symphony of the club, beneath the strobing lights that danced and dazzled, a woman stood out, a fiery beacon that commanded Lyle's attention from across the pulsating dance floor. Dressed in an alluring, form-fitting black dress, her fiery crimson hair cascaded over her shoulders, flowing like an untamed wildfire, igniting an allure so powerful that it was impossible to resist. Her emerald eyes pierced through the kaleidoscope of lights and met his, casting a seductive lure that inexorably pulled him towards her. With a voice as smooth as silk, she introduced herself as Seraphina, a name that hinted at the alluring mystery and chilling danger of a siren's call. The night unfurled like a well-crafted script, filled with hearty laughter, playful banter, and countless glasses of the world's finest champagne, Dom Perignon. Seraphina was an enigma, a captivating siren in the mold of a femme fatale from a classic noir film. Lyle was helplessly entranced, drawn in by her intoxicating beauty and mysterious allure. As the night teetered on the edge of dawn, she proposed they continue the celebration at his sprawling penthouse. The words were barely out of her mouth before he agreed without hesitation, completely seduced by her mystique. As the unlikely duo sauntered through the echoing grandeur of his high-rise fortress, Lyle found himself unable to shake off an unsettling feeling that began creeping into his consciousness. It was as if an icy, unseen wind had breezed through the cavernous halls of his opulent mansion, leaving a cold trail in its wake. He dismissed it as a temporary side effect of the champagne and the drunken haze that had begun to envelop his senses. In the dimly lit splendor of his master bedroom, Seraphina brought out a pair of sleek, polished silver handcuffs, her emerald eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief and dark promise. Lyle, caught in the throes of passion, allowed himself to be shackled to the massive cast-iron bed frame, his eyes locked onto hers in a silent pact. The cavernous room was drowned in silence, interrupted only by their synchronized heartbeats drumming in intimate rhythm. In that defining silence, Seraphina reached into her dress and produced a gleaming knife. Its polished surface glittered ominously in the dim light, like a foreboding harbinger of doom. In that moment, the chilling reality of his predicament washed over Lyle. His heart pounded with the heavy, resonating drumming of terror, the walls of his lavish life threatening to collapse around him. "What are you doing?" he stammered, his voice barely more than a whisper, panic clawing at his throat like a beast unleashed. Seraphina responded with a coo, her voice laced with a lethal venom that was as chilling as it was mesmerizing. "Oh, Lyle," she murmured, her gaze never leaving his. "Tonight was never about celebration. It's about the balancing of life's grand scales." And with that chilling revelation, she plunged the knife into him with a swift, practiced precision. The eruption of crimson mirrored the fiery hue of her hair as she methodically transformed the vivacious entrepreneur into a lifeless husk, her act as horrifying as it was mesmerizing. Once the deed was done, Seraphina prowled through his palatial mansion like a panther on the hunt, pocketing anything valuable she found. Jewelry encrusted with precious gems, bundles of cash, high-end watches. Each item silently added to the fortune she amassed in that grisly night. The wealth she collected was minuscule compared to Lyle's entire fortune, but it was more than enough to sustain her. Like a phantom, she vanished into the night, leaving behind a chilling tableau of horror. Days later, the city's police force, with their trained hounds and tireless investigators, tracked her down. Cornered, Seraphina resorted to desperate measures and threatened to leap from a towering building, making a vertiginous spectacle that drew a growing crowd. It was a tense standoff, an eerie echo of her encounter with Lyle, as the police tried to talk her down from the precarious ledge. "I'm the balance, the equalizer," she yelled defiantly into the howling wind that tore at her fiery hair, her voice resounding through the crowded streets below. "If I don't do it, who will?" After painstaking hours of negotiation and careful maneuvering, they managed to apprehend her without any further violence. The trial that followed was a media circus, sensational and captivating. The media, always keen to make headlines, quickly dubbed her the Velvet Noose, a beautiful yet fatal trap for the city's rich and powerful. Her enchanting green eyes, now dull and muted under the harsh fluorescent light of the courtroom, still held a spark of defiance. As she was led away to her cell, observers couldn't help but shudder at the horrifying depths hiding behind her mesmerizing allure. Seraphina was a deadly enigma, her story an erotic horror that sent ripples of fear and fascination throughout the city. Even behind the cold steel bars, Seraphina's allure seemed to remain undiminished. Her uncanny ability to manipulate the prison guards was both baffling and disturbing. She had them ensnared in her web, at her beck and call, just as she had done with Lyle. It was a cause of grave concern among the prison officials, her growing influence perceived as a potential threat that needed to be contained. Back in the city, Lyle's gruesome death had sent shockwaves through the high society's echelons. The rich and powerful were shivering in their boots, haunted by the fear that they could be next. Despite her incarceration, whispers of Seraphina's chilling deeds spread like a destructive wildfire, painting her as a deadly phantom who could strike at any time, anywhere. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.